Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a long time. I took quite a break from YouTube to focus on other things, namely work, but another exciting thing that I will be sharing with you in this video. But yes, I am back today with such an exciting video. You know, most of the reason why I was away, I think for a couple of months, was just because I was focusing on other things, but also because I got sick. So I got a throat infection that I couldn't talk for like a week and a half, and I was actually planning on filming something last week. But then I got sick and that stalled things, which is why I'm filming today on like the last week of April. I was, gonna have content planned out for the month of May, so many things coming, and then got sick, and then all my plans came to a halt. Also, another exciting thing is I've also been stepping away from YouTube to focus on my podcast. If you don't know, I just launched a podcast called A is for Anxious, a podcast that tackles the taboo topic of anxiety through the letters of the alphabet. I think it's such an amazing idea, and it's been so fun. Like, 10 out of 10, I thought podcasts were going to be like super hard and everything, but it's just been like a rewarding and learning process. So if you're interested in checking it out, I will leave all links to it down below. You can see the cute little podcast cover I had an artist create. And yeah, each episode highlights a new letter of the alphabet, which highlights a new anxiety that either I or my guests experience. I think right now we're on the letter E. Today, I just launched the letter E. So if you're watching this, it's the day that I launched the letter E episode, which is E is for the environment, talking about climate change, eco-anxiety, and environmental issues. So yeah, exciting stuff happening. But anyway, we're here to talk about the month of May, because the month of May is so exciting. I am always generally excited for the month of May because it's the month that I was born into this world, but also it happens to fall on AAPI month. If you don't know, I think in the US, I don't know if it's elsewhere, but in the US, May is AAPI Heritage Month, which is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And it's just an exciting month where I'm telling you, like, I feel like so good. Like, nothing can come in the way of my happiness in May because it's my birthday month and it's AAPI month, and this year it's my golden birthday. So if you don't know what golden birthdays are, it's like the same age that you're turning on the same day in the same year. Wait, I think it's like my triple golden birthday because I'm turning 23 on the 23rd of May in the year of 2023. But I was born in 2000, so I feel like every year is my birthday year, golden year. You know what? Never mind. I'm confused. But yeah, anyway, May is such an exciting month, and I have so much content planned for the month of May for AAPI Heritage Month because, again, it's the month where I am making a conscious effort to not only read books by AAPI authors, but to educate, inform, to advocate, to storytell, and just live my best life as an Asian creative in this space because sometimes it's really hard. So anyways, I thought what would be more exciting than to do a haul? I feel like I have so many recommendations, but I kind of want to make a more like specific outline of recommendations. Like, I want to categorize recommendations for AAPI books in a very specific way. So I'm not just going to do like a recommendations video, but today I'm here with a book haul because for some reason I have just come into so many Asian books recently. Like, I got sent a lot by publishers, but I think unintentionally I just gravitated towards a bunch of Asian books and have read a bunch these past few months. So I'm excited to share them with you. Take this as a recommendations video if you want. But other than that, most of these I haven't read. So I'm kind of just going to be talking about them and why I'm excited about them. And yeah, as all hauls go, I'll leave all the links to the books in the description box for you to check out as well, and I hope you end up picking some of these up. Okay, as you know, I've been reading a lot on my Kindle, so we're gonna go on my Kindle first. Ooh, I'm at 6% on my iPad, and I'm using the phone mic, I really need to get a real microphone for this, but I'm using the phone mic because there's construction outside and I really don't want to deal with that, and I want you all to hear me. So yeah, I don't like it. I don't personally have a preference for it, but it's what works. Okay, so the first book, I actually didn't purchase this, but I'm going to talk about it because we're already here. I actually borrowed this on the Libby app because I didn't know if I was going to like this. So I've been really into just literary fiction these days and kind of like no plot, just vibes books. And I really saw this one and I was super interested in it. It's called Ghost Music by On You, and it seemed really interesting because it's just kind of following this like women as she's going about like, you know, in her life. And those are the kind of books I really enjoy. I know for some people might sound boring, but I feel like the life lessons I learn in those books are superior to those that I, you know, would get from like a fantasy book where it's like mostly focused on plot and not like character motivation or relationships. So I picked up this book and I don't know, maybe it just wasn't for me. Magical realism for me is hit or miss just because of I just don't understand it sometimes. And I know that, you know, if a lot of magical realism is it's you know, magical realism, so it's set in reality or like real life, but then there are elements that are like unbelievable or whimsical. So I just have a hard time picking up on those sometimes. So overall, this book was not my cup of tea. It does read really nicely though. Her writing is super nice, and I think the character herself is very interesting, but again, like I just couldn't understand the story because of all like the mushroom imagery. There's so much like fungi, mushroom imagery. If you're into that though, you're gonna love this book. I think it's a really, in terms of like well-written book, I think it's really well written in terms of like execution on like the magical realism. I couldn't tell you because I don't know. But anyway, I think you should still check it out if that's kind of your speed. It's a short book. I borrowed it from the Libby app and then returned it like 7 days early before my hold was up. So super fast and super like insightful book, especially if you like mushrooms. Okay, the next book that I have here is Joan is Okay by Wang. This book I bought from an indie bookstore, I think when I was back in New York, but I just haven't hauled it, so I kind of want to show you. But I read a book called Chemistry last year from the same author. I really enjoyed it, although I don't know if this one's going to be up my speed because I feel like I liked Chemistry because it was like based in academia, and I love books that kind of like talk about academia, and this one is very different. Let's see what it's about. I have no idea what it's about. I just recognized the author and I was like, hey, this book sounds interesting. But it is about a 30-something ICU doctor, and see, I like the like emphasis on she is the daughter of Chinese parents who came to the U.S. to secure the American dream. I like books that, especially when it comes to, you know, AAPI books that focus on like the American dream and like, you know, children of immigrants, because I'm a child of an immigrant. So it touches on deeply resonant matters, being Chinese American right now, working in medicine at a high stakes time, finding one's voice within a dominant culture, and being a woman in a male dominated workplace. So yeah, pretty much all things up my alley. But in general, I am really excited for this. It's super short, as I think all of her books are. Like Chemistry was super short, but I also just love her writing, so I'm excited to jump into this one. Gotta drink my water. Okay, so the next book that I have here is The Fortunes of Jaded Women by Caroline Huynh. And this one I actually read already. I think I got it from my friend's Pango books like bookshop. It was like originally a book of the month book. And this one is super interesting. It follows it's a multi-generational novel, and it follows kind of these mothers and, you know, their daughters. And I love the mother-daughter relationship in this book. It is so well done, like literally so well done. I'm pretty sure this follows a Vietnamese family, but still things are so relatable because I think many, like just in general, like Asian cultures, I think there are a lot of similarities. All of them are different though, but I think there are a lot of similarities that can be tied back. And this one was just so amazing. I don't want to say it was like funny, but it did have this very lighthearted, humorous feel. And I think that just comes with, I think Asian mothers in general can be quite like sarcastic and sardonic, and I think that humor comes out on the page so well in this book, like the sardonic humor that Asian mothers have and how that affects, you know, their daughters growing up. And basically this family has a curse that they would only give birth to daughters, never sons. And if you don't know, in Asian culture, that's kind of like, that's a big deal because they do place emphasis on having sons because I don't know, sons are like good luck, but they also carry down the family name. So if you have daughters who marry into like a family, their children carry on the father's name. So, or at least traditionally, that's how it happens. So sons are very like looked up upon in Asian culture. So anyway, that is the curse in this book. I thought it was super interesting, the exploration of gender roles in a family that only has women in the line. And again, this relationship between mother and daughter was just so good. I know this is a book haul. This is not meant to be like a wrap up, but anyway, I love this book. You should definitely pick it up. And it's super short too for like the complexity of and nuance of the topics. So highly recommend reading this in May. The next book I received from a publisher from Viking Books, and it's Oh My Mother, a memoir in 9 adventures. I received this in the mail and I got so excited because, first of all, I'm trying to read more memoirs. That's just like a goal of mine this year and in my life, because memoirs I feel like are the closest thing. I mean, I do read a lot of lit fic and autofiction, which is really based on reality, but like memoir is the closest thing you can kind of get to reality and lived experience. So just trying to bolster my knowledge and reading experience with more books like that. Anyway, I love how on the cover it says "我的 Maya," which is if you don't know, it's like it's like a expression in Mandarin Chinese. It's an interjection, a polite expletive, something to say when you're out of words. And what's so funny is I grew up with my mom saying "what the Maya," or like family members saying it. So I just thought it was so funny and hilarious to see this on a book and for it to be used as like the basis of this book. And again, you know, the name of the game, this book follows Asian American a mother-daughter adventure around the world in pursuit of self-discovery, a family reckoning, and Asian American defiance. Wow, I feel like I'm reading a lot of books with mother-daughter relationships. I don't know what that says about me, but I have just been reading a lot of books featuring these kind of relationships. I actually did a whole Instagram reel recommending books with mother-daughter relationships, and this one I'm excited to get to. And yeah, I hope that if you're interested as well, I think it has like 9 short stories. Yeah, it's like nine little adventures. So excited. This next one that I have here has one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen, and the publisher sent me 2, so I might do a giveaway on my account. It's called Biting the Hand, Growing Up Asian in Black and White America. Look how gorgeous this book is. I love like the color blocking. It looks so cool. And yeah, I'm excited for this. I don't really know what it's about. Again, another memoir. But the synopsis says, Julia Lee is angry and she has questions. What does it mean to be Asian in America? What does it look like to be an ally or an accomplice? How can we shatter the structures of white supremacy that fuel racial stratification? Interesting. I definitely feel like this is less up my alley because it is more, I don't want to say research-based, but it is definitely more like societal, political based, which is like not my fave, because I do like a little bit more like fiction style books that like kind of talk about that, but through storytelling. Not that this book doesn't, but it definitely is. I mean, it's a memoir, so it's going to be more like real life, interrogation based kind of books. I don't know. I'm saying the wrong things. Anyway, I do want to recommend this though, because I think a lot of people will enjoy this. I think I would compare this to Minor Feelings. If you've read that book, I feel like it's like a reckoning of being Asian American, and it talks a lot about like real life, like societal things, and there's a bunch of research backing it up. So yeah, I just wanted to share this that I recently got from the publisher. This next book that I got is so cool. I got it from First Second Books, and it is In Limbo by Deb J.J. Lee. And this is a graphic novel that explores the Korean American diaspora and the intersection of mental health. And I'm so excited for this one. I'm definitely going to be reading it. I'll be vlogging it as well. I'm so excited to read more graphic novels, but especially ones that focus on mental health, because as you know, I'm a mental health advocate, and I feel like the best literature that I read is at the intersection of mental health and like identity. So I know I'm going to enjoy this one. Also, before I received this one, I didn't realize that I was following the artist on Instagram. I'll leave the link or just like a snapshot of their profile, but like I love this artist, and when I found out that they were doing a book, I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like the art in here is so gorgeous, like super detailed. It's all monochrome though. So yeah, I'm so excited. Like look at this cover. The next book that we have here is Holding Pattern, and this is also an arc that I got from Riverhead Books. It's on sale in June, and this is, again, another one that explores mother-daughter relationship. The idea behind it is holding pattern is a noun. It means a state of suspended progress or the awkward way your mother tries to hug you now that you live with her again. Yeah, I've been hearing good things about this one, honestly. One of my favorite authors, Alexandra Chang, blurbed it, author of Days of Distraction, which you should also read. And this one just sounds great. I don't think this is a memoir, so I think I'm going to enjoy this one a lot more. I think it's a piece of fiction, but based on like the author's experiences, I would be guessing. It is a hopeful novel about immigration and belonging, mother-daughter relationships, and the many ways we learn to hold each other. Damn, I swear, the books I've been reading these past few weeks have just been kind of crazy. Like the way that they've been relating to my identity, I just feel like I feel like I'm so in tune with myself and my cultural identity now because I've been reading so many of these books. Okay, this next book that I have here, I literally was walking through Barnes & Noble's and I stumbled upon this book, completely caught my eye because of the cover. It has an octopus on the cover, which if you didn't know from my RIP marine biology days, I love octopi and I love anything that has to do with the ocean. And this book just absolutely warmed my ocean-loving Asian American heart so much. I feel like you have to be in kind of the right mind space to be reading this book. Oh, by the way, it's called Sea Change. It follows a main character who feels very stuck. I don't want to call it depression. She is in sort of a depressive state, and I feel like she is stuck, and I think she has very poor mental health, but I don't want to put a label on it. But it definitely reminded me of a time in my life when I felt stuck because I didn't know what I was doing in my career. You know, I was changing paths. You know, I had a lot of family things and a lot of just like personal mental health stuff I had to unpack. But this book kind of encapsulates that. It brings a sense of loneliness, even though you're not alone. Like there are people in her life, in our main character's life, but she feels this like immense and deep and troubling loneliness that seems to eat away at her. And I feel like it's so relatable to a bunch of people who are feeling that in their life. Like they feel lonely, but they're not alone because they have people in their life, but they just can't, help with this feeling of loneliness. So it follows our main character. I think her name's Aurora, but it was short for Ro. I don't know for sure. I forgot her name, but they call her Ro. And she works at a mall aquarium, and she's built this relationship with one of the animals in that aquarium, which is this giant octopus. And I think the idea of like ecosystem biology, like animal husbandry, like the topics of that were so well intertwined with that of like, Asian American culture and identity and, growing up with like losing your dad, because our main character like loses her father goes missing and is never found. And it has a lot to do with loss, loneliness, like cultural identity, all of that, just really deep stuff. Again, this book is just super deep, and I highly recommend you check this book out. I know it's just going to be like a literary staple of this year. I hope it wins so many awards. I'm pushing this book wherever I go, and definitely check it out. It's honestly one of my favorite books of this year. I do have to say it is, and I'm excited to see where it goes. The next book I have here is She is a Haunting. I actually have a finished copy, but I think it's with my partner, so unfortunately I have to show you the arc. But if you didn't know, this book follows a Vietnamese girl, and it is kind of a haunted house story, but it is just it's terrifying. I am putting a content warning on this book for creepy crawlies, for bugs and like critters and, disgusting stuff, because there's a lot of body horror, there's a lot of like bugs, and I didn't know that going into this book. I mean, I think I did because of the synopsis, but it's just it's a lot. And I think overall in general, it's compared a lot to Mexican Gothic, which honestly, I feel like, can we just stop? This is unpopular opinion, but can we just stop with like the book comparisons? Because I feel like it just puts unrealistic expectations on books, you know, when you compare it to like super popular novels. Like I feel like a lot of books back in the day were compared to like The Hunger Games, Divergent, whatever. And it just, when it wasn't up to those standards, it just like it disappointed a lot of people. And I feel like this is the case with this book, where it was compared to Mexican Gothic, which is like, I loved Mexican Gothic, and I just don't, I inherently or unconsciously, I was comparing it to Mexican Gothic, and I didn't love it as much as Mexican Gothic story-wise. I think the story here was interesting. Our main character is also queer. So again, just like an interesting take, I don't think there's a lot of like Asian queer horror books out there, so I would highly recommend checking this out. I feel like it would be a great book to read in October. I read this recently, so like it was just, it felt very out of my element. Also, horror just scares me. Like when I read horror, I need like a few weeks to recover from it, because I'll just like see things in my house or whatever, and I'll be so scared. So overall, not the greatest experience, but we did read this for my book club, Heartbound Book Club. If you're interested, we're reading a queer Asian book for the month of May with my friend Jessie's book club. So if you're interested, I'll leave the link in the description for that as well. But overall, pretty mad book, but I think the descriptions were terrifying. Writing was super good and very immersive, but again, like I just need a few days to recover. All right, this next book, you've probably all heard about it. The hype is real. It is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I got an ARC for this, and honestly, I was super excited to be getting an ARC. It felt super flattering too, because I'm like, ooh, yay! It's like one of my most anticipated, just because of the like audacity of it. This book essentially explores the publishing industry through the lens of, you know, this white author who stole this book from an Asian author who, you know, unexpectedly dies. And it's a very interesting premise. I feel like when you read that premise, like you're just like, whoa, that is, you know, that's kind of crazy. Like there's nothing like it on the market, 100%. But I think overall, I'm going to do like a full review on this, or maybe in my wrap up, because I don't think I can really talk about it that much without like kind of planning it out a little bit, because right now it just seems all over the place. But overall, my thoughts on it were, I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it, just because, again, the subject matter, the audacity, you know, you'll never read something like Yellowface, and I really love the title of it and the cover. I don't know if I'll put a picture of the cover, but I really like how the author it's just very in your face. Like, and I feel like that's what you need with something. I feel like she's trying to draw attention to it, and I love that. Like, we need more like call outs of the publishing industry, or call outs of, you know, white people who do like, you know, messed up shit that I think needs attention. And this was definitely a kind of a situation of, you know, a white person stealing, you know, cultural, like, you know, written stuff from an Asian author, and then kind of using it as her own, and also going under like an Asian pen name when she wasn't really Asian. So this book explores all of that, and as you can see, I've marked it up. I think overall though, I don't know, I liked it, but I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Like, it didn't like stick with me, and I truly think that's just because of how like meta it was. It just tried to be too like Twitter-versy, like all of that. I think the voice was super spot on of just like the entitlement seeping out of this narrator's voice. But I think in general, there was just so many references to like book social media and book Twitter especially, where I feel like if you were just not a book community member, like if you're not a book content creator or in the publishing industry or know anything about the publishing industry, I can imagine how this book might be pretty hard for people to understand the importance of. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard really many reviews other than people who have read it in like this industry or this, you know, community. So I'm excited to hear about that in the next coming weeks, just because I want to see how people not from the industry kind of, their take on it, and if it's easy to understand. Because right now, like, yes, personally for me, like, reading it, I'm like, okay, like, this makes sense. Like, I understand everything that this author is talking about, but what about the people who don't? And maybe that's not the author's intention, like, we talk about authorial intent in our creative writing classes, and it's like, yeah, like, when an author publishes a book, it doesn't have to be for everyone. It can just be for a very specific set of people. Like, you don't write books ever, really, I think, for other people. You write it for yourself. You write it for yourself, and you write it to resonate with a certain group. I mean, I think especially with authors of color, like, if you're writing about your own experience, I don't think people outside of that community will understand it to the extent that people in the community do. So I understand all of that. It's just like, I do think it is very specific in terms of like the book Twitter sense and book social media, to the point where it's like kind of just hard to understand even for myself. So those are all my opinions. Please don't come for me, but if you read it, I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Okay, and last up, we have a cute little package. I got this in the mail quite a few weeks ago. I just am unboxing it. But we have Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. I'm actually going to see Chloe Gong at Y'all West this weekend, so I'm so excited because she's so cute and she just looks like a very intelligent person, and I can't wait to get my copy of Immortal Longings signed. Or I don't know, is this signed already? Usually ARCs come signed. I don't think so. But yeah, I think this is the first book in a new series by Chloe Gong, so I'm excited to read it and check it out. I don't know, I feel like this will be interesting because it talks about like gods and stuff. And yeah, I'm excited. Okay, those were all the books that I have recently received or acquired, and I hope you're having a great day, a great week, whenever you're watching this, whenever I have time to edit this video. Thank you so much for, being patient, and I'm excited to come back onto YouTube. As I mentioned a little bit, I'm going to be at Y'all West, so I'm going to California in a few days to see all the book people, and I'm excited because I'm going to film and I'm going to vlog all of it, so I can't wait for that. That's going to be coming out, but for now, enjoy this video. Happy May if you're watching this in May, and I'm just excited for everything this month has to hold. I hope you are too. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.